Hi everyone, how are you? So if you follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, you might have seen that I posted yesterday that I got my new Too Faced Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar Palette in the mail, and I'm really excited. I thought I would do a quick video for you showing you swatches and a really quick comparison to the original chocolate bar palette. I'm going to try to keep it as concise as possible. That way you can just get a quick idea of what this palette is all about. Now this is available exclusively on Sephora.com. They're not going to be selling it in stores, so if you want it, it's going to be available on the website, and I saw that it does come to the UK, I believe in January, so I'll link it down below where I can find it. Right now it's only available for Sephora VIB and VIB Rogue members. Starting December 16th, it will be available for everyone. All of these shades in it. You get 16 shades, which I think is honestly a great deal, especially if you're a neutral lover, because you're really going to get a lot of use out of these shades. So both the milk chocolate and the semi-sweet retail for $49, so it's great that they didn't raise the price with this one. They are the same price, and the packaging is exactly alike. Now, if you did get the milk chocolate palette when it first came out, the packaging was a little bit more bulky, but they did slim it down, so it is very, very similar to this one, almost exactly the same. If you have the older one, it's going to be a little bit different, but I did get mine probably less than a year ago, so the packaging is exactly alike, except that this one is lighter. Another difference is with the milk chocolate bar, the names are not printed on here. They have a little handout, kind of like a box of chocolates that has the names on it, which is really kind of inconvenient. I did keep mine so I can reference the names, but it's kind of annoying. The second one, they changed it and they actually printed the names right on the palette, which is awesome. I love that they did that. It makes it so much easier when you're looking at the names. Both of the palettes do have 16 shadows. They have 14 shadows in this size and then 2 larger highlight shades. Now the semi-sweet palette does have 2 highlights as well. One is matte and one is shimmery, but they're both more of a natural nude beige color, so I feel like you'll get a lot more use out of these. Some people don't like shimmery pinks, some people do, but I feel like having 2 nude colors is definitely better, in my opinion, than having 1 pink shade. So despite the outer packaging, even though the milk chocolate packaging is darker, the shadows are definitely cooler and a little bit just lighter in general than the semi-sweet chocolate bar palette, which is warmer and there just are more dark shades in it. So definitely I think that depending on your skin tone, one of these might work for you better than the other one. As for colorful shadows, these are mainly neutral shadows, as you guys are obviously able to see, but the milk chocolate palette does have a really, really light matte pink in it, and then it has a sparkly purple. And then the semi-sweet chocolate bar palette did keep with the same kind of thing and include 2 colorful shades. It has pink sugar, which honestly is one of my least favorite shades in the palette, I'll talk about in a minute, and then blueberry swirl, which again was a little bit disappointing. I thought this color was going to be so beautiful, but it's not quite on par with the neutral shades in the palette. So there are 2 colorful shades in both of the palettes, which I think is nice. It's a nice way to kind of change it up a little bit, and although they seem slightly out of place, they might be nice for those of you that want like a pop of color. Now the original milk chocolate has 6 mattes and 10 shimmers, and then the new semi-sweet has 7 mattes and 9 shimmers. So it has 1 more matte than this one. So, you know, depending if matte shadows are your thing, this one does have 1 more matte, and the 2 like brighter colors are shimmery. So there are a lot of matte colors in here, more matte colors and more matte neutrals than there are in the original palette. Okay, so moving on to just the semi-sweet chocolate bar palette. I love that they included a black shadow, licorice, in this palette. This matte black shadow is awesome. I used it as a liner today, and then I also used it to like kind of smoke out my outer corner, and I love it. It's pigmented, it's matte, it goes on so nicely and blends out so well, so I think that's awesome. I feel like that's an essential shadow in a palette, and you can't go wrong with that. I also love both of the highlight shades. In the first one, I was not really using the light pink shade very much. This palette also includes a lot more browns. There are at least 7 shadows in here that are brown. So if you are a brown eyeshadow lover, you're going to love this. If you're not really a neutral eyeshadow lover, I don't know if this palette's going to be for you, just because so many of the shadows are neutral. I'm always on the hunt for a good brown eyeshadow, so this is like a dream for me, and I know that if you love neutrals, you're going to like it as well. So there are 4 shadows that I feel like are really similar between the 2 palettes, which I will get to in a second, but I want to do quick swatches for you guys and just tell you what I think about each of the colors individually. So I will start with the first shadow in the palette, which is Licorice. Licorice is definitely a dark matte black. It's super pigmented and you cannot go wrong with this shadow. I feel like it's a necessity for a palette. You can just use it for so many different things. Blendable, it's soft, and it's pigmented. The next one is Coconut Cream, which is a soft white nude. It's a good brow bone highlight. It is really light, so I'm not sure if it's going to show up on everyone's skin tone. If you're super pale, even paler than I am, I feel like it might blend right into your skin tone, but I feel like it's a good color to have in the palette just because it will work well underneath the brow bone to blend out colors, even all over the lid if you're going for a really natural look. The next color is probably one of my least favorites. Nougat is a pretty shade, but it doesn't show up very well on my skin tone, so I think that depending on your skin tone, this might look really good on you, or it might not show up so well. It's just kind of like a soft beige with pink undertones, and it is a matte shadow, and it blends out nicely. It's really soft, but it doesn't show up on my skin tone. The fourth shadow is also a matte, so the first 4 are all mattes, and this one is Truffled. This is just a medium warm toned brown. I use this one in the crease today, and it blends out so nicely. It's super pigmented, and I love that it doesn't have a lot of red to it. It's just like a true brown, and I think it's going to look gorgeous with so many of these shades. The next shade is the first shimmer shade in the palette. This is Hot Fudge, and it is a dark, cool-toned brown with subtle, warm shimmer. It's super pigmented. I find that the shimmery shades in this palette in general are very pigmented, and I think this would look so beautiful either in the crease with a gold shadow on the lid or just all over the lid for a smoky eye. The next shadow in the palette is Cocoa Chili, which is kind of a weird name, I thought, but it's kind of similar to Hot Fudge, except this is a warm-toned brown. It's kind of a dark brown, but it has a lot of gold shimmer in it. It's almost gold glitter because it really stands out. It doesn't really blend in with the shadow. It gives you a really pretty kind of super sparkly eye. So if you wear this all over the lid, I think it might be beautiful, especially for the holidays. The next shadow is Pink Sugar. This is probably my least favorite in the entire palette. It's just a really, really light pink with some serious iridescent or like holographic shimmer to it. I feel like this won't perform well on its own. It might work if you wet the brush ahead of time, but I feel like this might look best over a shadow to kind of give it more dimension. I think that would be really pretty. On its own, it's a little bit disappointing. It's not super pigmented. The next shade is Puddin'. This is a cool toned medium brown. It's similar to Truffled, but it's lighter, or it's more cool toned. It's cool toned and lighter, so I think this is a great option to have, especially when you want like a simple color in the crease. The next one is Blueberry Swirl, which is the other colorful shadow in the palette. And again, I really was excited to try this one because I'm all for like a pop of color on the lid, but it's not quite as pigmented as I had hoped. I think that maybe if you wet the brush again, it will appear more pigmented. But since it is a shimmery shadow, I was hoping that it would have the same pigmentation as the other shimmery shadows in the palette. The next shade is Peanut Butter. This is definitely one of my favorites in the palette. It's definitely like a warm orangey peach shade that would be really pretty as a transition shade. I'm wearing it as a transition color today, or it would be pretty on its own on the lid. I think it would be just a unique color. This is a matte shadow. I don't know if I've been saying that for all of them, but this one is a matte shadow, and I'm surprised because the matte shadows are really soft and blendable. Sometimes with matte shadows they can be a little bit hard to work with, but the matte shadows in here perform really well. So we're getting into some of my favorite colors. The next one is Frosting. This is a golden brown, super pigmented. I think this is the most pigmented shade in the entire palette. It is so beautiful. I'm going to be wearing this all over my lid so much. I'm sure that I will actually hit pan on this shade because it's just so pretty. The next one is Rum Raisin, which is a cool toned medium brown shimmer. Again, this one is super, super pigmented, and I like that they included this color because it's kind of like Frosting, but the cool toned version. So I like that you have the option to use either one. The next one is Mousse, which is a light ash brown, and I think that this might be good for eyebrows if you have lighter eyebrows or you're a blonde and you want to fill in your eyebrows with a brown shadow. I think this would work really well, and I think it's just nice to have a light brown. The next color is Caramel. I'm wearing this all over my lid, and again, this one is so pigmented. It's one of my favorites for sure. It's just a really, really pretty golden shade. It's pigmented and pretty, and you can't go wrong with it. The next one is Bon Bon, which again is one of my favorites. It's super pigmented, and it's just a gorgeous light copper color, and I think this would look so pretty all over the lid. And then the last one is Butter Pecan, which is just you know, your warm shimmery beige, and I think it's a great highlight color. So that's a quick description on all of the shadows for you and some swatches. I hope that it was helpful, since I know that's what most people want to see. That way you can get an idea of what they look like. Now, the big question I always get is, which one do you recommend, and do you need both? Now, do you need both is kind of like, do you honestly need another neutral palette? Probably not, but are you going to love it? Probably yes. If you're a neutral palette eyeshadow lover, I think that you would absolutely love this. I find that most of the shadows are super pigmented. There might be 1 or 2, maybe 3 in here that aren't my favorite, but the value for $49 is awesome, and I would definitely recommend it. So which one would I recommend? Honestly, I do like the Milk Chocolate Bar palette. I do get some use out of it. I get a lot of use out of it, but I honestly think that I'm going to be wearing the Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar palette so much more. It just appeals to me a lot more. There are so many warm, brown, beautiful, pigmented shades in it. And while the Milk Chocolate Bar palette does have a lot of shades that I love as well, I feel like the Semi-Sweet one definitely has more shades that I'm going to reach for. So I definitely see myself reaching for the Semi-Sweet more often than the Milk Chocolate. The only problem with the original Milk Chocolate Bar palette is that there are a lot of shades that I don't really use. Like, I don't think I've ever used this one. I don't use this one. I rarely use this one. I've never used this one. So there are like 4 or 5 shades in here that I don't get a lot of use out of, whereas with the Semi-Sweet palette, I think that I could really see myself using the majority of the shades. Maybe not Pink Sugar, but that's pretty much it. I know it's hard because Sephora is not actually going to have this palette in stores for you to swatch. So, you know, just look at the swatches, decide if they're colors that you think you're going to wear. I honestly think if you like browns, you're going to love this palette and you can't go wrong with it. I would have to say that I like this one a little bit better than the original, but I do like both of them. Just depending on your personal preferences, it might depend on which one you like better. If you like shadows like I do, or you're finding yourself liking a lot of the recommendations I give, I think that I would have to recommend the Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar palette, just because I think that I'm going to be obsessed with it. So that is the end of my video. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. I really hope that it was helpful. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, and I will definitely have some tutorials coming up very soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.